What's up, guys? My name's Caden, and I'll be kind of going through some things, how to study for AP tests, because as a lot of people know, AP tests are coming up, and it's a stressful time. A lot of people are stressing about other things during school. You have, for example, tests, homework. So I'm going to be giving you a few kind of ideas of how to maximize your studying and how you can be able to succeed for your AP tests. So the number one thing is to start early. I know this is maybe a little too late, but starting early is really helpful because that's obviously super obvious because starting early, you get more time to do stuff. And if you initiate your study process several weeks or even like months before the exam, this approach, it allows you to cover all the material without feeling like overwhelmed, because obviously if you're doing it in like crunch time, it's going to be super overwhelming. So giving yourself that time is very, very important. And it also like gives you time to revisit like challenging topics that you can seek help for if you need it, right? Because if you're doing it in a like crunch time, you're not going to have that time to go around and ask questions to whatever teacher you want to talk to. So yeah, that's super important. Number two is understanding the format, because these tests are very long and there's a lot of questions. So understanding the format is super important. Each AP test has its unique structure. So for instance, some tests may have multiple choice, FRQs, so free response questions, or even both during the test. So for example, last year I took the AP Spanish test, and I forget if it was like the language, or I know we had to do a lot of like speaking. So yeah, we had a multiple choice section. We also had to record our own voices, and they were testing us based on how well we spoke Spanish and if we used the proper grammar and stuff like that. So just kind of understanding the format of how it works is like a very, very important thing, because then you can be prepared and know what's coming. So knowing this stuff can help you like allocate time efficiently too, because if you know what's coming, you can set aside time for what you think you're going to struggle with and what you're not going to struggle with. So that is number two. Number three is create a study schedule. So this is something that I think a lot of people could use during school, not even just for AP tests, because personally, I'm not the greatest person for studying. So creating a study schedule is very key. A well-planned study schedule is very crucial. It breaks down the entire syllabus into smaller sections or topics. And if you allocate specific days or weeks to each section, allowing buffer time for review and practice tests, this can be considered as like a very, very good tool. You could use calendars, study apps, or planners to keep track of your process. And I know that with these AP tests, I know that I have two of them on the same day, so using this stuff could be very, very helpful. Number four, so use multiple resources. This is just basically like diversifying your study materials, so not just using the same stuff you always use, but using something different. So while like your textbook is obviously a good starting point, like a lot of information comes from there, you have to do some other stuff, right? So it could be videos, educational websites, review books. It could be an app. I know that for Spanish, we just kind of did a run through, right, of like what we had to do. So we wrote like one or two or three essays in our class, and that helped a lot. Like it was so easy to do in the test because I had done it so many times. Different resources like this can give you different points of view. And so these different points of views can help you understand certain aspects of the test. And by doing that, it'll be much, much easier for you. 5, active learning. So if you engage actively in the material during your class, it's obviously going to come much easier for you. Just honestly, just pay attention in class is all I have to really say about that. Because, I mean, if you don't pay attention, you're not going to know what's happening. If you don't know what's happening, you're going to not do well on the test. So instead of like reading it or trying to like teach it in a way, just be more like active with it. Do other things. You could do it in a group. Do it in a group with other friends because that definitely helps. I know when I had finals this year, I studied with friends at like coffee shops, and that helped a lot. And then this leads to number 6, join a study group. I kind of touched on this earlier, or joining a study group is super helpful. It definitely varies from person to person. I know that for myself, study groups are something that are super helpful. As I already said, this past finals of semester 1, I did study groups with my friends at coffee shops, and I was there for, like 3 to 4 or 5 hours, and I got so much work done. So it's super helpful, and I totally recommend that. It just kind of depends on the person. I also kind of mentioned this earlier, practice with past exams. In my Spanish class, like I mentioned, we kind of did the format in a way. We did 1 or 2 or even 3 practice essays, and that like totally helped me. Like it was such a breeze during the test, and I was super thankful for that. But also, you could go back to past AP exam papers that are good for studying, right? Because you can kind of see what to expect, what not to expect, what to work on, what not to work on. And yeah, so I think that's a super helpful thing because allowing to go back to old stuff, you can see what other people have done, what they've done wrong, and then you can work on that. Number 8, this one is pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people would know this, is get quality sleep. Sleep is very, very essential. You need to rest your mind, right? Like you need to be ready for the test. So getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night is very crucial. But I think just in general we should be doing that, not just for AP testing, but it would obviously be very, very helpful for the AP testing. Number 9 is stay organized. Being organized is a very, very crucial thing in school, I think. And I think most people know that, but this is just a reminder again to stay organized, whether that is using folders, binders, whatever digital tools like on your computer. Being able to stay organized is something that is very helpful for not just AP tests, but as a lot of people are going off to college, that is something helpful too. Number 10, the last one, is stay calm and confident. A lot of people tend to stress out a lot because of these tests, like specifically the AP test, ACT or whatever. People tend to not be as confident in themselves and tend to kind of be stressed out and overthink a little bit too much. But it's a super common thing, right? I bet you most people taking the test are stressing out. So just remind yourself, you prepared for this, you'll be okay, and yeah, just try your best. But yeah, that is it, and I hope these tools are helpful. Good luck.